after the death of Hitler and the fall of the Nazi Party, which ended the World War II. Two of the most powerful countries in the world, the United States of America and the Soviet Union, has cut its tie. Now, the world is in a brink of an all-out nuclear war. During the war, the U.S. and the Soviet Union are both part of an international military coalition known as the Allies. Although the two have opposing ideology, the U.S. being a capitalist and the Soviet a communist nation that joined forces to defeat the Axis. It was the middle of 1940s. The Nazi group has just been defeated. Most part of Europe is suffering from economic depression and famine. The Soviet Union is quickly spreading its power on the Eastern Europe. In the midst of this, another global powerhouse is crawling its influence. They set in Greece, Norway, Iceland, UK, France, Denmark, West Germany, Italy, Turkey, Netherlands, Belgium. Winston Churchill, in his famous speech in 1946, has proclaimed that the Soviet has put down an iron curtain over the region. The Soviet Union continued its authoritarianism and communist ideology in its satellite state, while the U.S. spread its impact by giving financial aids and supplies to the countries heavily affected by the war, especially the Germany. This attempted control of the Soviet and the U.S. resulted to separation of Berlin. The Soviet didn't like the move of the U.S. to influence Germany and ordered the infamous Berlin Blockade, which spanned from June 24, 1948 to May of 1949. During this period, the Soviet Union blocked the food, materials, and supplies of Allies coming into West Berlin. But the U.S., Canada, Britain, and other Allied countries answered to it by conducting the Berlin airlift, supplying the city, using planes carrying about 5,000 to 8,000 tons of cargo every day. Although not fully engaging in a war, the U.S. and Soviet has continued taunting each other by military maneuvers and passing economic actions that will provoke the opposing state. And it was in the early 1960s that the Cold War has reached its peak. And the world is at the edge of an impending global nuclear war. Fortunately, during this time, no missile has been created that can travel the distance between Russia and the United States. However, miles below the U.S., a new government is setting to establish. The Cuban government has just been overthrown by the young revolutionists Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. And on March of that same year, Cuba began negotiating military weapons with the Eastern Bloc. Threatened by the Soviet and Cuban coalition, the President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, has approved the funding of CIA to overthrow Cuba. And on April 1961, a CIA-organized group tried to invade the province of Santa Clara in Cuba, but failed because the air fleet that can back them up was withdrawn by the newly elected President Kennedy. And in 1962, the Soviet gave a chill in the spine of the most powerful country in the world. The Soviet Union has set a nuclear missile camps in Cuba as an answer to the U.S. action of deploying ballistic missile in Italy and Turkey. The tension has been heating up, and the two global superpower has its nuclear missiles pointing at each other. In a meeting of Kennedy with the National Security Council, the ex-com has advised President John F. Kennedy to immediately carry out an airstrike on Cuban soil in order to compromise Soviet missile supplies, then to be followed by an invasion of the Cuban mainland. But Kennedy chose a lesser aggressive move. He instead ordered a naval quarantine on the island of Cuba. This is to prevent Soviet missiles on reaching the country. During this naval quarantine, a number of U.S. aircraft carriers patrolled around the Caribbean, cutting any Soviet ships on supplying Cuba. Lurking below them is a submarine of the Soviet. Inside this submarine are military officers having a debate. A suspected direct report from the mainland Russia that the U.S. has already fired its ballistic missile against the Soviet Union. Two of the senior Russian submarine officer has decided to shot torpedo missile on U.S. aircraft carriers, but one officer disagreed. He is Vasily Alexandrovich Arkhipov. If Archipov's submarine has opened a shot against the U.S. ships, World War III could have begun, and the world could have been in total catastrophe. The tension of the impending nuclear war has subsided on November of 1962, when the Soviet has withdrawn and dismantled their nuclear missile facility in an agreement that the U.S. will also withdraw its missiles in Turkey. The result of these technological advancements in rocket and missiles during the war lead to a new horizon in space exploration. Since 1955, the two superpowers, the U.S. and the Soviet Union, are in an ongoing space competition, resulting to Russia deploying the world's first satellite through Sputnik 1, and later delivered the first man in space on April 12, 1961, by the name of a Russian cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy announced the Apollo mission, that is to send the first man to the moon. Leading the mission was a German engineer named Wernher von Braun, which U.S. has worked with during the Operation Paperclip. After several attempts and tragedy, Neil Armstrong, together with his team, has successfully landed on the moon on July 20th, 1969. The U.S. believe that this success has ended the space war, with them winning the battle and cementing their standing as the most powerful country in the world. If you love this video, hit the like button below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to keep you updated on our future videos.